Hola, bienvenidos a mi presentación de los indios.
I'm a real Mexicana.
Okay, no se crean. Actually, let's start. Because all jokes aside. Okay.
What do you think?
It's so preppy in here.
Is it just as preppy as you imagined?
So this is our presentation of the Indian removal by me, Jocelyn, obviously, and then Rosalind, Adara, Mia, and Dayami. So our topic is the government finding ways to get the Native Americans out of their homeland. Homeland is just like the land where it began, where they first started their tribes. Like some are from Alabama, so that would technically be considered the homeland. So the Indians, like the Choctaws, the Chickasaws, and the Seminoles, and the Upper Creeks and Lower Creeks, and the Cherokees, argued in between, in like not
That you want
between themselves, like with like just like their tribe, to see if they were going to sign or not going to sign, because it was some of them. The government wasn't really asking to like, oh hey, sign this, and we'll be like, you can choose whatever. It was like saying, no, y'all have to sign this so y'all can like move this place so we can occupy your land, you know? And I was like, ooh. Personally, I would be like, no. I would be like the Upper Creeks right now. So the Opathio, which was like the speaker of the Upper Creeks in the council, and they rejected the proposal because they didn't really want to move out of their land, obviously, and they were like, no, I don't want to do this because this is my land. Why should I have to move to just accommodate y'all? Like, when I mean y'all, I mean like the government. So yeah, so 100 like of the warriors, the ones that didn't agree with it, went to McIntosh House because he signed the treaty for the Upper Creeks, signed the treaty which gives like beyond like west of the Flint River is to Georgia. So they were like, no, like why would you do that? So they went to his house and like set on fire, and once he was trying to escape, they were waiting like around his house and killed him. Personally, that's kind of real because like why would you do that without trying to like consider how we feel, like, you know? So no. Next, after finding out that the Upper Creeks did that, the president John Quincy Adams tried to renegotiate with them, just trying to see if they were like not pleased with the deal, as most of them were. And then he like basically, I guess he just didn't want to like add anything. He was just trying to renegotiate the deal that they had before. But the Choctaws did relocate. They're the first ones to relocate in 1830. The Chickasaws relocated in 1837. The Creeks were forced to relocate in 1837 since they couldn't come to an agreement point, and they had kind of like a war, I guess, with the government. But it was a so-called war because it only lasted a couple months. It wasn't really like a big deal. The Seminoles, on the other hand, did start a 7-year like war because they just didn't want to move, and at the end of the war, they were forced to move. So they all like got on boats or like were walking to Oklahoma because it was like, no, at this point the government was like, no, I'm not taking any of y'all's attitude or nothing, and just like put them on a boat and was like, bye, y'all know. It was like, okay. But yeah.
In 1830, many Native Americans immigrated from the east to the west. This all happened because of one person, which was Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was the president at the time, and so he basically heard that there was this land. It was good land, and he wanted to basically get his hands on it. So, but so he wanted to get his hands on that land, but there was people living there, which were the Native Americans. And basically, Andrew Jackson, he signed an act into law. And this act was the Indian Removal Act, which authorized the president to grant unsettled lands west of the Mississippi in exchange for Indian lands within existing state borders. So this meant that basically he could take the Native Americans' land in exchange. This meant that he could basically take the Native Americans' land and he would give them land that was west of the Mississippi. Does that make sense? Yeah. And there was basically, of course, not all the tribes will agree. So I will show you in the next of like what happens, okay? Okay, so basically the Choctaws, they were a tribe, right? And they just wanted to live peacefully and they didn't want conflict. So they made a treaty with the US, the government, right? They made a treaty, and this treaty was known as the Dancing Rabbit Creek Treaty. Okay? The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. And this was to like discuss the removal, right? So this treaty provided that the Choctaws would receive land west of the Mississippi River in exchange for the remaining Choctaw lands in Mississippi, right? Right? Yeah, this happened because Mississippi got mad about natives being too advanced. So when they moved to that land, they were quickly adjusting to it, and that was their intention. That was their intention in the beginning, but now they want to switch up. Yeah, they want to switch up. So, by the way, this happened after they moved into the land in Mississippi because they weren't done. They weren't done moving them. So this other tribe, which was the Chickasaws, they didn't agree with the Indian Removal Act. So they waited until 1832, which they made a treaty, right? And that treaty was the Treaty of Pontotoc. Pontotoc? Yeah. This basically agreed. They basically agreed to give their land in exchange for a promise to find suitable land west of the Mississippi River. And some other the Chickasaws didn't receive any compensation like other tribes did. Like maybe other tribes received money, and they found their own land, but I guess, yeah, that's what happened, basically. Thank you for watching our presentation.